Now, James Morrow, Gina Rinehart has suggested, according to the Courier Mail, that she might be willing to contribute financially to get the Commonwealth Games happening again, this after Dan Andrews cancelled it, but on the condition that it's held on the Gold Coast. Why does she want it held on the Gold Coast?
Well, I mean, I think the thing we have to say about this is thank God for Gina Rinehart just in general, because when it comes to sport, I don't think there's anybody else in this country who is doing as much to back athletes, to back athletics, to back all sorts of sports. You know, these individual swimmers, we heard last week about all of the donations that she gives to these swimmers so they're able to pursue their careers. And she does this across so many other sports. That she would want the Commonwealth Games to go ahead is perfectly keeping in brand with her. I mean, obviously, Victoria doesn't want it. Gold Coast makes a lot of sense for it. Queensland's going to be hosting the Olympics down the track. But the thing is, it should be a relatively simple process with all of these athletic events. You've got a lot of the facilities already existing in a place like Gold Coast to do it. So it's up to the Gold Coast government whether they want to pony up the money. They say it could cost $1 billion to host. That seems like it's a lot of money, but it would also bring an awful lot of people and goodwill in, too.
Yeah. Such a blunder by Dan Andrews, how this has all happened. I mean, we shouldn't even be thinking about who's going to host it now.
Do you know, Sherry, the thing I don't like, I saw this story this morning in the Courier Mail, and I know Gina, I worked for her 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
And the thing I didn't like about the story was it implied that she should have to stick a hand into her pocket and pay for these. Like, because she's rich, it should be her obligation to do. I mean, this lady has kicked in, as you've said, James, something like $60 million to sports. And often sports no one cares about or gives any attention to. She cares about them. It's not just swimming and others. She gives money to sports you've not even put your mind to. And then let's not even go down the channel of how much tax the lady pays, in the order of 800 or so million out of her private company and another 700 or 800 million out of her mining company. I mean, this is a great contributor, and she's in court at the moment in Western Australia trying to fight off a whole group of people who are trying to get their hands on her money. I mean, I call them freeloaders, people who just have decided, gee, she's doing well, I want a bit of that, I'm going to court and do it.
And that's before we talk about her children.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of the biggest freeloaders. Yeah. So you've got, you know, one of Australia's great contributors, and the tone of the story is she's thrown her support behind it, but she hasn't put her hand in her pocket. Like, she has to keep doing that. I mean, the Gold Coast will win out of this if the Gold Coast hosts it.